What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Straight Betting. Happy Wednesday. For those who have been tuning into the MLB stuff, I'm trying something new here, guys. So you're probably looking at the screen like, what the hell is this? And I'm gonna talk over it for a little bit. But basically, I really want to try leaning into like the pitcher props, right? Or not the pitcher props, the hitter props. I feel like there's so many hitters in the MLB, right? It's probably very hard to like set those lines accurately and stuff. So, guys, I'm gonna do a quick little breakdown of like what goes into these projections, or they're not really projections, but they're like cheat sheets almost, stuff like that. And then I'll quick like show examples of like where these numbers are coming from on Excel sheets and stuff like that. So basically, guys, I'm gonna break down the best hitter matchups and the best or the worst hitter matchups. So take unders for worst, obviously, and then overs for best. It's not exactly rocket science right there. But yeah. Anyways, guys, let's zoom it in. Anyway, so first of all, these are the best matchups, and let's quick zoom in. And we're not even gonna be able to see, but total matchups. I have percents. These are my own little codes. So Riley Green, guys. So the best matchups, the 30% plusers. There's four of them. Riley Green, Cody Bellinger, Seiya Suzuki, Nico Horner. These two guys are both on the Cubs, and there's like something similar about why they're so high. Then there's Cody Bellinger, Riley Green. So this first one, guys, it's BIP difference, BIP percentage difference versus season average, weighted versus the opposing starter pitcher, and weighted versus the team average difference. So let me quick show you guys an example of this. Let's go over to Cody Bellinger real quick. Let's see. And by the way, guys, please give feedback on this type of video. If you guys find this like completely boring as hell, let me know and I'll just stop doing this shit. But yeah. All right. So we're on the wrong game. I thought Cody Bellinger was still on the Cubs. Okay. New York Yankees at the Kansas City. So what this is basically, guys, it's down here, and Cody Bellinger, so it's right over here. So BIP right here, ball and play percentage, that's what it is. That's like projecting it. So obviously, guys, as you can see up here, I have like how many times they're going to strike out and stuff, how many times they're going to get walked. And then I have that. Then I have their season ball and play percentage right there. I put the difference there. And guys, here's the thing. They're all facing the same pitcher, right? So the books are going to see it and be like, okay, yeah, this pitcher strikes out a lot of guys. So like we're going to think that all these guys are going to strike out. So basically, you find everyone's difference between their season total, and then what you have to do is the average difference of the team, and then you're dividing this by this or subtracting it or something like that, and that's how you get this number. So it's weighted against the team, and then it's weighted first of all against the pitcher, and then it's weighted against the team, if that makes any sort of sense. So yeah, if we go down here, he's going up against lefty Chris Bubich. Cody Bellinger is, and Cody Bellinger is right here. As we can see, his strikeout rate against left-handed pitching is only last 60 days. It's basically the entire year, 7.69% K rate against lefties. So obviously, if you're not going to strike out, you're going to put the ball in play, right? And that's what you really want at the end of the day for hitter props. I mean, just give yourself a chance. Put the damn ball in play, right? Even with the walks, right? So the other thing is walks, and I think that Bubich, his numbers are down here, and yeah, so walk multiplier versus lefties, 0.84. So better at not walking lefties, which definitely probably helps. Bellinger's overall numbers, right? But yeah, Bellinger, will walk against lefties a little bit, but yeah, it's not really the point. I think the big point is that he really doesn't strike out against lefties, which is very, very, impressive for a left-handed hitter. So if we go back over to this sheet, did all that yapping to say that's like what this BIP difference versus season average weighted number is. It sounds complex. It's really not. I think it's really important though, because like I said, man, these hit props, these basis props, these hit run RBI props. I guess hit run RBI might be the one exception because you can get like a run when you get walked, obviously. But that's also, you just want to get hits. So, that's why I'm doing all this stuff. I'm weighting it times 1.5 when I, do the overall total matchup percentage. But yeah, basically, guys, so Cody Bellinger, really doesn't strike out against lefties. So since he is facing a lefty, he projects to, put the ball in play a lot more than average, and that's where this number's coming from. Now, percent difference in batting average versus opponent pitcher's handedness. Like I said, he's going up against lefty Chris Bubich. And yeah, he has a 13.66% higher batting average against lefties than he does righties. And like I said, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but that's a difference. And it's definitely calculated correctly. So that really high batting average, really low strikeout rates, obviously that's correlated and stuff. Percent difference in batting average for day and night games. So Bellinger is, slightly better, I guess, in night games when it comes to batting average. It doesn't really going to make a big difference. He's lower in weighted runs created plus from home and away. And the reason why I'm using weighted runs created plus is because there's so many park factors when it comes to hits. So when I'm doing home road splits, I want to use WRC plus, which takes an account for park splits and stuff like that. And then the final nail in the straw, guys. Chris Bubich is a very good pitcher, but his XBA against lefties is way worse than it is, or like way higher, way worse, whatever you want to call it, than it is against righties, so there's double reverse splits going on right here for Bellinger, right? He's better at hitting against lefties, avoiding strikeouts, batting average, all that stuff. And then Bubich himself is worse at, I think, both striking out lefties, if I'm not mistaken, but also giving up, his XBA is 8% higher against lefties as a lefty, right? And that's supposed to be like, usually, your XBA is supposed to be your batting average allowed, all that stuff. It's supposed to be better or lower against lefties if you are a left-handed pitcher. So we got double reverse splits going on, and that's definitely what's leading this Bellinger number. Highest one of the day, Riley Green. And Riley Green just has all the splits going for him. Like I said, his BIP percentage difference isn't even that high compared to a lot of these guys, 4.7, even though he's a top projection. Here's the thing, man. So all the splits are literally going in his favor. So Zach Eflin, that's who he's going up against. He's a righty. 11% higher batting average allowed against left-handed, Riley Green himself has an 11% higher batting average. And I actually looked at this. It was it went from 180 to 300. So that's, Riley Green absolutely mashes against righties and then kind of stinks against lefties. Day-night games, right? Like I said, day-night games, I was thinking about it, right, when I was trying to find all the stuff to put in the model. And day-night games definitely make sense. It's like when I used to play baseball, I used to always think it was really hard to hit during night games. And, maybe some people are opposite, but some people definitely see the ball better with natural light or versus the stadium lights and stuff. Riley Green, batting average goes up 8.38% in night games. Percent difference in what weighted runs created plus for home away. So they're on the road. Riley Green, his weighted runs created plus also goes up 5.66% on the road. And then the final thing, opponent and starting pitcher percentage difference in expected batting average versus lefties and righties. So Riley Green is a lefty. This one makes sense, right? Zach Eflin, 4.6% increase in expected batting average against left-handed batters versus righties. So basically every single split is going in Green's favor. And when that aligns, as you can see, green, 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 green. Some of these have red, most of these have a little bit of red here and there and stuff. But yeah, Riley Green has the best matchup on the board. I think that going for his total bases makes a ton of sense because his ISO was really, really high against righties, right? And ISO is basically weights out extra base hit stuff. If you have a very high ISO, if you hit a ton of extra base hits. So Riley Green over total bases makes a ton of sense. Cody Bellinger, I actually really like his over singles. I think it was minus 125 when I looked at it. So yeah, those are the two ones that I really dug into. Obviously, guys, we'll get into Luzardo in a little bit, but Luzardo has the most insane splits in the MLB. I would have to say. So I mean that this will pretty much self-explain itself. The Nico Horner and Seiya Suzuki stuff. But yeah, so really like Bellinger to get a single sneakily enough. I really do like that. Or maybe I could do a hit parlay, but that'll sound kind of dicey. So, but yeah, Bellinger, love him to get a single probably. And then yeah, love Riley Green over his total bases. I think it was like plus 120 too. So yeah. All right. Now if we flip this, right, we go by ascending. There's a minus 73% here. If you guys can see that in the top right corner. It is Pete Crow Armstrong, and he's going up against Jesus Luzardo, right? And then as we just saw on the other side, there was like some really green ones of righties going up against Jesus Luzardo. So let's quick check this out. I mean, it's really crazy. So Jesus Luzardo, guys, his strikeout rate against left-handed batters, let me zoom in on this a little bit. His strikeout rate against lefties is 44.44%. And guys, Jesus Luzardo's like pitched a fair share of games. It's not like he has like some like really small sample size at all. His strikeout rate against righties is 21%. I mean, like when you do like a way to project it, obviously, guys, I weight mine heavily towards what's actually happening on the field. But I give Luzardo, like, compared to other lefties, you know, facing compared to like the average lefty on lefty at bat, like his K multiplier is insane. And then it's literally below league average for a lefty on righty, which is just crazy. And like those splits continue, right? So let's keep on scrolling down through Luzardo. Walk rate against righties, 9%. Against lefties, 2.78%. So really, really good at not walking lefties, and then, you know, below league average at walking righties. And if you go down here, man, Jesus Luzardo is giving up a 309 batting average against righties, and then 200 against lefties, which obviously makes sense, right? Because if you're striking out like damn near half of the lefties you face, you're probably not going to have a great batting average. So all that stuff, Luzardo is like the biggest split pitcher, I think, in the league, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, lefties against Luzardo, very, very tough matchup. And then righties against Luzardo, very, very easy matchup. Anyways, guys, why Pete Crow Armstrong is so low. Pete Crow Armstrong's left-handed or K rate against lefties, like I said, basically on the year, last 60 days, 38%, bro. 38% strikeout rate against lefties, which is insane. Obviously, his projected K rate's not as high, but like I said, I like to see what's actually happening on the field. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So basically, like I said, this is definitely overstating it a little bit, right? But when you take the multiplier versus lefties that he has, you know, above league average, he is like I said, 44 strikeout rate, and then even weighted, because I do it against a weighted, but it's 1.64 his strikeout multiplier when it's like a lefty on lefty situation. So yeah, it's like this is being multiplied by 1.64, and it gets to 57.82%, which is just crazy, right? So like obviously Pete Crow Armstrong, it's going to be tough, very tough for him to put balls in play. So basically, guys, really, really like Pete Crow Armstrong to get under 0.5 hits. I believe it was plus 130 when I last checked. There was also a Pete Crow Armstrong over 1.5 strikeouts for plus 140. So I might sprinkle a little bit on each of those. But yeah, guys, it really is just like it's like brutal for Pete Crow Armstrong. But also, like I said, guys, it's also, you know, a solid matchup for Nico Horner. And I believe the other person was Seiya Suzuki for, like I said, you'd have to go back and look real quick. But yeah, those guys for sure. I mean, all the righties, like, realistically have like a pretty solid matchup, probably compared to like what it is like the books are projecting to, right? Just because he has such drastic splits. But yeah, let's go back over to the sheet. Ultimate hitters, that's what I call it. Ultimate hitters. Okay. The other under guys, Teoscar Hernandez, I believe. So Teoscar Hernandez is a minus 38.99%. Let's quick check him out. And I started working on this last night, and I noticed this as well with Teoscar. So Randy Vasquez isn't anything special, bro. He's really not. However, guys, Teoscar Hernandez has insane splits as well. So I'm sure, honestly, whenever the Dodgers are facing a righty, Teoscar is going to pop up as someone who I should take an under on. And whenever I'm taking, you know, a prop, or whenever the Dodgers are facing a lefty, Teoscar is going to pop up as someone who I should take an over on. So yeah, guys, Teoscar Hernandez, 34.48% strikeout rate against righties over the last 30 days, that is. And obviously, guys, there's more right-handed pitching than there is left-handed pitching. So I'm using last 30 days for this and then last 60 for that. Only a 13.33% strikeout rate against lefties, though. So just drastic stuff from Teoscar. Also, Teoscar against righties, like I said, for getting hits when you're fading hits. He does have a 6.9% walk rate over the last 30 days. Teoscar does against righties, which is like something. He hasn't even walked against lefties over the last 60 days. So, yeah, guys, I mean, it's like Teoscar Hernandez, he faces a lefty. I mean, his chances of like not putting the ball in play are so much higher than they are when he's facing a righty. So, yeah, Elcio Teoscar batting average against righties over the last 30, 170. So yeah, guys, Randy Vasquez is not like a special pitcher or anything. I will say though, Randy Vasquez, you look at his batting average allowed versus righties, 203. His average allowed versus lefties, 287. So that's a pretty big split too. So you got like Teoscar, who's a righty too, right? So yeah, I mean, all the splits are kind of going up against Teoscar here. Like Randy Vasquez has positive splits. I guess the one thing is he does walk lefties more. Randy Vasquez walks a lot of guys too. So maybe that could be another thing, even though Teoscar does not walk a ton. And then the final thing too is like Randy Vasquez, he doesn't really strike people out, but at least he does have a 0.73 K multiplier against righties and then a 0.57 against lefties. So lefties against Vasquez could be interesting, but yeah, basically every split too is going up against Teoscar Hernandez. So let's go back over to that sheet too. Yeah, ball and play percentage just dips a ton against righties, even against guys like Randy Vasquez, right? For Teoscar. Yeah, difference in batting average is huge. I guess he even has a bad day-night split, so it's a day game, and his batting average drops around 8% in day games, and it does in night games. And yeah, like I said, this is Randy Vasquez's expected BA split, so yeah, pretty much everything is going up against Teoscar here. Randy Vasquez is definitely not a good pitcher, right? But that's going to be reflected in the market, and that's why I think this thing gives you an edge, right? It's because all this stuff is like already. Most of this stuff is. I don't think this stuff is reflected in the market a ton, like the stats I'm using. But like Randy Vasquez being a shitty pitcher, an easy pitcher to get a hit off against, is already reflected in the market. But it's also just going up against all of Teoscar's splits. So you can get we might be able to get like a plus like 170 or something for Teoscar to not get a hit. Maybe like a minus 115 for under 1.5 total bases or something like that. I didn't really check the Teoscar lines, but stuff like that is like what I'm going to be looking out for. So yeah, guys, and obviously, guys, looks like Jason Dominguez or Jason, I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, there's some other like minus 34 percenters, which is definitely like very, very intriguing as well. Jackson Churio against Schwellenbach, kind of going up against his splits as well. So yeah, looks like Jackson's really been struggling against righties this year too. So yeah, cool. So yeah, guys, this is like what I'm going to be doing mostly moving forward. I think that this stuff is like very interesting. Hopefully we can be finding edges. Of course, guys, I do have some K projections. Like I said, quick run over them. Randy Vasquez under 3.5 strikeouts. Probably would stay away from that. It's minus 158. Like I said, just don't like laying crazy juice. Casey Mize over 4.5 strikeouts, minus 110 seems to be pretty interesting. And David Peterson under 5.5 strikeouts, minus 132 seems to be pretty interesting as well. Go over to the walks. I guess Volter over 1.5 walks is interesting. Yeah, so like I said, I'm gonna focus more on the hitter props, but yeah, guys, seriously, leave some feedback down below. If you guys find this interesting, if you guys, think you learned something from this, just let me know down below. Totally understand if you guys think this shit's boring as hell, but just thought I'd share it and walk you guys through my new hits matchup process. So yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you next time.